Human trafficking is defined as the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another, typically for the purposes of forced labor or sexual exploitation.
The issue of human trafficking is common in different areas of the world, with one of them being the United States of America. The U.S. Justice Department estimates that 35,500 through 175,500 people are trafficked into the country every year. And 57,700 U.S. citizens are trafficked around the globe every year. Human trafficking itself started towards the early 1400s around the time of the slave trade. Human trafficking itself has gained the nickname modern-day slavery because of its practices.
The United States is ranked as one of the worst countries in the world for human trafficking, also known as modern-day slavery. About 50,000 people are trafficked per year in the United States. 40.3 million victims have resulted because of human trafficking. The three most common types of human trafficking are sex trafficking, forced labor, and debt bondage. The biggest one is sex trafficking. There are different organizations helping victims and trying to prevent human trafficking by making people aware of how human traffickers try to persuade you or trick you into being trafficked. I read an article stating the distinct and unique ways human traffickers try and trick people into being trafficked. For example, an 18-year-old from Texas stated, "I was at my college and this group of women approached me asking me about the Mother of God. They then handed me an address to follow. I thought it was pretty strange, so I went back to my dorm. Later that night, I came across an article describing different ways human traffickers try and traffic people. I then read what just had happened to me at my own college campus."
Victims of human trafficking include men and women, adults and children. However, those at the most risk are women. The population has responded to human trafficking by having several protests, having several donations, along with having a hotline available for those who have undergone human trafficking to contact. Human trafficking has a large impact on the economy, with human trafficking earning global profits of roughly $150 billion a year. 99 billion of those dollars being from commercial sexual exploitation.
The way I would address the issue of human trafficking would be by teaching more people about the dangers of it and ways they could prevent it from happening to them. This issue is tied into culture because it happens to anybody. Different types of cultures, and it just shows how human trafficking is a big problem in the world right now. Yes, some individuals were able to escape and get their justice for the things that were done to them, and the people that did the stuff to them were put in custody. Human trafficking is a big problem in our world today because a lot of women and children are being kidnapped every day, and this is a problem we need to fix in the US and everywhere around the world. But this just shows how there's bigger problems in the world that we really know.
The following video is a news clip containing a phone interview with a woman who has undergone sexual trafficking. This is her story.
An ABC4 News exclusive for you tonight. The victim of a child sex trafficking scam is speaking out, willing to share her horrifying story.
Yes, it all started with a father using his own daughter to befriend her and then exploited them both. The victim spoke with ABC4's Brittany Johnson, who joins us now. Brittany.
That's right, Emily and John. So we first told you about this case on Wednesday when the defendant was sentenced. Since then, one of the victims, Bailey Orr, is now 18. She gave me permission to share her name and story tonight, saying more people need to be educated on child trafficking because it happens to the people you never expect.
Joseph Moore is behind bars, found guilty of sex trafficking a 16-year-old child and exploiting his own adult daughter for prostitution. The child victim was the key witness in the case. Now 18, I spoke with her over the phone.
I guess I'm kind of naive and I'm a pushover in a lot of ways. so I tend to go along with things.
Bailey Orr says she was befriended by Moore's adult daughter and promised she could make money.
We came from a very broken home. We didn't have a lot of money.
Then Orr was introduced to Moore himself.
At first, it was we were just going to hang out with older men, and we'd get paid for just hanging out with them.
But things took a dark turn. According to court documents, Orr was lured into a commercial sex operation run by Moore. Prosecutors say he even set up advertising online for his daughter and Orr.
He would drive us to appointments where we would be forced to sleep with countless men in exchange of money, which Joe would take a portion of. Maybe we'd go to one meeting and go get food, and I would go home. Maybe other times we would run around, and I would go to 8 meetings in one day, and then we'd still be looking for more. There were days where I hurt so much I could barely walk. I took a lot of blame for a long time that, like, I introduced myself to these people. I spent time around them. Like, it was my fault that what happened to me because I put myself in that situation.
Dan Strong is the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Utah. He says Moore took advantage of an innocent child's vulnerability.
The worst thing you could do is see a child in that position and think, here's a way I can make a buck. And that's what the defendant did in this case.
According to Counter Trafficking Data Collaborative, almost half of child trafficking cases begin with family member involvement.
It's probably a product of poverty and just desperation, but drug addiction, the opioid crisis.
1 minute, everything could be fine, and the next minute, your life could be turned upside down. It's something that's going to take a lifetime to get over.
Traffickers lure and ensnare people into forced labor and sex trafficking by manipulating and exploiting their vulnerabilities. Human traffickers recruit, transport, harbor, obtain, and exploit victims, often using threats, lies, or other psychological coercion. Traffickers promise a high-paying job, a loving relationship, or a new and exciting opportunity. In other cases, they may kidnap victims or use physical violence or substance abuse to control them.